Hello again and welcome to Cooking with Roy. This is going to be a recipe for tacos and we're going to make them without any meat. We're just making the taco meat in this recipe and we're going to be using some lentils. And lentils, if you don't know what they are, I'll kind of show you. They are a very fine, these are green lentils here, and that's what we're going to be using for the recipe. They're small. You can find them dried in almost any store. They come in several varieties, but the green ones are the ones I recommend for this. There's red, there's black, there's other types, but these are going to be the sturdiest ones that you're going to find for these types of recipes. So to start out with, we're going to add some water to a pot that's heating up on the stove. We're going to add our lentils. Now when you add these, you want to do what my mother and grandmother refer to as look them, and that means you want to make sure there's no stones or no stray material in there, because these are a dried product that come out of the field, and while they're usually pretty good about getting most of the debris and rocks and stones and that sort of stuff out, that's not always the case. So I'm going to continue to look through these and make sure I don't see any stray debris, and once I've got these looked, I'll be right back. Okay, so now I've got the lentils in a pot and I'm just waiting on them to come up to a boil. And the recipe normally for lentils is a cup of lentils. You need 6 cups of water, and you cook them like pasta basically. About 15 minutes in the water, and then you drain them and use them for that. But that's not the method we're going to use today, so I'm not using quite as much water because we want to cook these down. We're going to use them for meat, and I'll show you how we're going to do that in just a few moments. As soon as we get this up to a boil, got a couple more ingredients I'm going to add in here, and then we'll go from there. So now the lentils have come up to a boil, and the first ingredient I'm going to add to these. Lentils have kind of a meaty flavor already to them, but it's kind of more of a chicken flavor, so I don't want them to taste like chicken. So I have got a packet of imitation beef broth that I'm going to add in here, and that's going to give it the flavor of beef. And then I've got an onion that I have diced fine. I'm going to go ahead and add that in as well. And now all we're wanting to do is let these cook for about 15 to 20 minutes. And we're going to stir them as needed here and there. But right now what we're wanting to do is we're wanting to cook them down. So we're going to cook the water out. But you need to keep an eye on them, because when you see the water level getting low, add more water to it until they get really tender, because that's going to be part of the process we're using today. Instead of cooking them like you would pasta, we're going to cook them, we're going to use them in a different fashion for an actual meatless dish. So I will see you in just a few minutes when we get a little closer to what I'm talking about there. Okay, I'm going to take them off the heat for a minute, just so you can see what I'm talking about here. But whenever they are at the stage where they're ready for you to start doing this, they're going to hold together. But if you take one, they're going to be very, very mushy. And that's about, I'd say, 25 minutes or so after cooking. So I'm going to turn this off here. Our meat-like consistency. See, there's still some water in here, there's not a whole lot. You don't want to mash all of them, but you want to take your potato masher, which that's what this is, and just go through and kind of mash a few of them so that you can break them open. Let's start through. Because we're going to put them back on the heat here in just a minute. I'll just turn my burner off, but I'm not going to put them on as high heat as I had there. And it's going to give us a more mushy sort of a texture, but after we add our seasoning and everything, you'll see this is a very good substitute, and you can't really tell the difference. I actually took some to work a couple of times and had people that couldn't tell me the difference in that and a regular taco meat. So I'll be back in just a minute. Okay, so I've mixed up some chili powder, some garlic powder, some onion powder, some cumin, and a little bit of cayenne and some paprika. And I'm just going to add all of that in here. And just let the rest of the water kind of kick out of it. And while that's happening, my heat down to about 3, and I'll be back to show you what it looks like when it's finished. Well, here's what it looks like when it's finished, and I'm going in with a chip just so I can give it that little taste. And see, it looks just like taco meat, and it tastes almost the same as taco meat. I mean, it's very, very close. So I'm gonna give it a taste and see what we got here. It's dead on. It's right there. And the seasonings I added in, I add about 1.5 teaspoons of each: chili powder, cumin, coriander, garlic powder, onion powder, and a little bit of salt. And that's what was in my dish there that I added. Hope that you like this video, and you can use this for anywhere that you would replace taco meat, or if you want to add it in as part of your chili, you can do that. If you don't want to have meat in your chili, you can add this in. It makes a great replacement for the meat in your chili and gives you a healthy alternative. Lentils are very high in protein. I believe that you get in a serving of lentils, I think it's the equivalent of an 8-ounce steak in protein. So they're very healthy for you, and it's a good option to have if you're on a diet where you're needing to modify, or you're just looking to replace some other meat in your diet. Hope you like this video, and feel free to comment, like, and subscribe. And I hope that I see you again real soon. Talk to you then.